ready to go.
You and me, a dream team.
Very good choice, my friend. Let's go for the title defense.
After this amazing DTM debut 2 weeks ago in Moscow, we are now here back for the 7th round of the DTM 2013. Welcome to the famous and most traditional racetrack in the world. It's the Nürburgring, and I can tell you, still 4 drivers has a reasonable chance for the title. So everything is open, and we do have all the highlights for you. Please enjoy.
Thanks very much. Definitely at the sharp end of this championship now. What a great view from the top of that Schloss as we look down on the sprint version of the Nürburgring. A big crowd here, as ever. Weather conditions could be changeable. And what about the BMW men? Well, it was a bit of a PR stunt. They went out with the campers and showed their skills at putting up tents. And here was a car swap. Sebastian Ogier leading the World Rally Championship with the Volkswagen and Matthias Ekstrom. Well, they swapped cars and they both had a lot of fun, as Ogier told us.
I had time to feel the taste of this car, and now that really made me want to do it again. And yeah, it's for sure the most performant car I ever drive on the tracks, and yeah, it's really cool.
So they're having a little run in that rally-winning Volkswagen is Matthias Ekstrom. But what about this man, Mike Rockenfeller, leading the championship, winner in Moscow. Helmets off, Timo Scheider, another very unhappy qualifying from the former champion. Christian Vittoris, one of only a handful of drivers who's finished in every race. Bruno Spengler, last year's champion, climbs aboard. Augusto Farfus, been strong most of the season. Won round 1 of the season, of course, at Hockenheim. And there, what, 5 Mercedes-Benz drivers all in a row. So let's check out the track with the Hankook animation. As I said, we're on the short sprint version of the modern Grand Prix track here, and we're gridded up. But it is a very tricky start to a downhill first gear hairpin. This one is really difficult. Approach it very quickly, of course, and then turning in, and it just tightens up through that hairpin, and then accelerate away to the long left-hander through this complex in front of the big Mercedes-Benz grandstand. Going all the way left now, a fairly low grip track here. Little short straight, but lots of tight corners. Right down into this long right-hander now, second gear, and then accelerating away, trying to get some traction. In the background, behind here, just the old Nordschleife, a fast left-hander, and then into a 4th gear right-hander going through there now. And then this is the fastest section of the course. We think this is where they will use the DRS. Through that right-hander, and then we're heading towards a very tricky chicane where we've seen so many incidents in the past. It goes left, but the sighting is a bit strange there because you've got a piece of racetrack which goes straight on. Now to the last bit of the racetrack. Coming round the right-hander, trying to get lots of traction here for the run down past the pits, and then again to that tricky hairpin at the end of the straight. And that is a lap here of the sprint circuit. The distance, 3.629, 49 laps, 177 kilometres. In qualifying, a perfect start for BMW. Bart Manthe there with the boss of BMW Motorsport, and Augusto Farfus really was on it. The Brazilian, remember, he won the first race of the season and he was looking fast.
I'm very happy. I mean, starting from pole, of course, it's nice. Of course, it helps. But it's always, in DTM race, we have seen that we need a good race pace, a good strategy, good stops. And then we see. I think the car is good enough to win the race. The car is strong. The race pace should be okay. So let's see what Sunday will bring to us.
And yeah, there's Marco Whitman, gives the thumbs up because he made it second fastest, an all BMW front row. Whitman was a happy man.
Actually, I'm really happy. I mean, it's a great result for us, especially like the last 3 races were quite difficult for me and for my team MTech. Now to be back in the first row is just a great result for us.
Row 2 was all Audi, but not the usual suspects. Miguel Molina sprung something of a surprise. He was third fastest, and alongside him, Edo Mortara. How would they get on? Here is the Audi DTM boss.
If I look a little bit to the front of the grid, we're very pleased with Miguel and Edo's performance. Both of them had, quite a troubled season so far. And today they have had an excellent session, and they continued our run of having always at least one car in the top 4 of the qualifying.
Dieter Gas there. But what about Mike Rockenfeller, the championship leader? Well, he was having problems at his home race, and the 29-year-old qualified in 11th place and couldn't really explain why. Another man who was struggling a bit was Bruno Spengler. He qualified in 10th place. And the best of the Mercedes-Benz, well, that was Gary Paffett. He was in 5th position, and there he is in the Euronics car.
I'm pretty happy with the car, and to be starting the first 3 rows, to be in front of Rocky and Bruno is a positive, so we'll see how the race goes. I think we can really do a good job and hopefully finish on the podium from P5.
And still struggling, there's Timo Scheider in the black Audi and Martin Tomczyk in the BMW. Both out after Q1. So let's take a look then. There is the top 11. The all BMW front row, Farfus and Whitman, all Audi second row, Molina and Matara, Gary Paffett the best of the Mercs with Junkadea, Wickens and Vittoris all in Mercedes behind him. And then it is Matthias Ekstrom, only in 9th, having such a great race at Moscow. Then Bruno Spengler didn't score in Moscow, and Mike Rockenfeller, who of course won there. Jamie Green 12th for Audi, Timo Glock in 13th, Adrian Tambe, Pascal Wehrlein, Joey Hand, Albuquerque, Scheider, Werner, Tomczyk, Merry and Prio.
I'm here together with the championship leader, Mike Rockenfeller. Mike, thanks for stopping by.
No problem, nice to be here.
So let's talk about the qualifying yesterday. Actually, for sure, you came with a lot of tailwind here to the Eifel, your home round. You had a second victory at Moscow, which was a wire-to-wire win, again like at Brands Hatch. So what went wrong during the qualifying yesterday?
Well, DTM is a tough sport. When you miss a little bit, you can't do well, and it was the case for us. I mean, we tried our best, home race. Miguel, my teammate, did a really good job starting from P3, so that's the big hope for Phoenix today in the race. But I'm looking forward. We had qualifications this year where I was more in the back, and still we went to the front and had a good race, got a lot of points, and that's the aim always. So so far I'm still positive, and I hope we can do well in the race.
You already mentioned it because you had it already several times at the Red Bull Ring, at Norris Ring, that you had to start from the back. So your race pace was quite good there. So the good news, Bruno Spengler is starting next to you from P10.
For sure, it's nice that he's not too far in the front on the start. We will see. Race pace is the key factor for us. Good strategy is important, and 2 good pit stops like every other race, and then we will see what happens. I try my best. I try to push hard, and I hope to score points.
But it's all about the unpredictable weather here at the Nürburgring, huh?
I mean, you never know here. It can be sunny, it can be raining. It's unpredictable. This we know for sure. And this is also a key factor in the race. I mean, everybody has the same problems or to deal with it. And I hope we can make the best out of it.
Okay, I wish you good luck. And now it's race time. Have fun.
Race time, what a vantage point that is at the top of the Schloss, looking down on the circuit and also looking at some pretty dodgy looking weather, and rainstorms are forecast. The parachuter floats in and a crowd estimated at close on 90,000 people. Quite a few VIPs here as well. And Mita, that's a very famous chef in Germany. Doesn't quite look like Jamie Oliver, but there he is, meeting with Timo Glock. And also the gymnast Florian Hamburgen down there. Martin Tomczyk, final words with some of the BMW management, starting a disastrous 20th place for the former champ. Same applies really to Timo Scheider. Very few points this season. Tomczyk hasn't got any points at all this season. Well, let's see what Scheider can do here. Timo Glock, a little disappointed with his 13th. The man who raced for Marussia last season. Been having some good races in the DTM, particularly earlier in the season. Had a third place, of course, at Spielberg. Jamie Green, starting from 12th place, still adapting to the different ways of Audi sport compared with Mercedes-Benz. Best race result this season, 5th place. There is Rockenfeller, the championship leader, but he's got a bit of work to do here. And Yves is down with Augusto Farfus.
Gustl, the second time this season that BMW secured the front row, and it's your personal third pole position. So what about the view? And I don't mean the grid girl.
No, it's always nice to be in pole, of course. Saturday is a difficult day with the single free practice, but we did a good setup. We managed very well. So this pole position means a lot, even though looking to DTM race, the strategy is crucial. So we have to hope to get a good start, a good strategy, a good race pace, and try to fight for a good result.
Is there any agreement with Marco Wittmann next to you for the first turn?
Yeah, I think we both will want to get a clean start and do our race. We are here to try to squeeze to get the maximum out for BMW. So we have to push as hard as we can, because our competitors are just behind and they are not they're not playing. So we really have to push, and I'm sure we will.
There, Bruno Spengler jumping up and down. Of course, didn't score any points in Moscow. Got punted off early in the race and damaged his car. And the odd spot of rain on the grid. Everybody is on slick tyres. Most of them are on the options, the slightly faster options. Nice shot of the steering wheel on the roof of the Audi there of Matthias Ekstrom. Certainly enjoyed driving that rally car, that rally-winning Volkswagen earlier in the weekend. And there is Eki, who was the fastest man in Moscow, but team orders came into play, which allowed Rockenfeller to win effectively. Christian Vittoris, what a season he's been having. The young man, of course, used to race in GP2 successfully, but now with his third year at Mercedes-Benz, and he's looking pretty good. But wasn't happy with his qualifying. Rob Wickens, well, best result so far, second at the Norris Ring, was briefly first until the motorsport authorities overturned that decision to promote him. There's Peter Mucker looking at his driver, Juncadella. Danny Juncadella's been having a great season, the reigning Formula 3 champion. But Mercedes' biggest hope for victory has to be Gary Paffett. There he is in 5th place on the grid. Has won here at the Nürburgring before, and Gary's tyre warmer's just come up, and we can hear from his team boss, Toto Wolff.
Hi, Toto. Good to see you again. I'm here together in front of Gary Paffett, the best placed Mercedes. So actually 4 Mercedes in the top 8. I think you would have preferred 4 Mercedes in the top 4, you said in the press conference yesterday.
Yeah, obviously, if you can choose to have 4 in the top 4, 4 in the top 8, you'd rather take the top 4. But it's a solid team result. I think we're in a pretty good position for the race. It's getting quite dark now in terms of clouds and rain, so let's see.
What's your weather forecast? There are already some raindrops. I can feel them.
You know, I'm not a real Eiffel expert, but I think anything goes in the Eiffel. It can rain and then 10 minutes later it's hot again. So at the moment it looks a bit dark.
A bit dark, maybe that rain will come. Here's Edo Mortara, been having an awful season, the man who won 2 races for Audi last year. In fact, the only winner in an Audi last season in the A5. And did we just see a spot of rain on the windscreen there of Miguel Molina's car. Molina yet to score a point this season, the man from Lloret de Mar, although he currently bases himself actually at the Nürburgring, lives very close to the track in the summertime. The stripy Marco Wittmann car, brilliant second place from him. Can he back it up with a good drive in the race? Watch out for Marco Wittmann. But on pole position, it's Augusto Farfus, and Farfus started the season with that win at Hockenheim. So we can see what he can do as we check out the grid, this time the animated version. As we said, all BMW front row, it's Farfus and Wittmann. Behind them, well, it's a pair of Audis, Miguel Molina from Spain and Edo Mortara with Italian flags on his side, although he's really Swiss. Gary Paffett and Danny Juncadella, they are in a pair of Mercedes, and behind them another pair of the cars with a 3-pointed star on the bonnet. Rob Wickens of Canada and Christian Vitoris. Back with the Audi's 9th is Matthias Ekstrom, then Bruno Spengler, second in the championship. There he is in the BMW Bank car. No white roof this weekend. Mike Rockenfeller and Jamie Green, what can Rocky do? Championship leader Rockenfeller, Timo Glock, the Grand Prix former driver, and Adrien Tambay, the young Frenchman who showed very well in Moscow. Pascal Wehrlein, the teenager, alongside Joey Hand from California, struggling a bit in qualifying. Then Felipe Albuquerque from Portugal, Timo Scheider, that former champion, way back, near the back again. And then Dirk Werner and Martin Tomczyk, those 2 BMW drivers, struggling. And on the very back row of the grid, it's Roberto Meri from Spain, and Andy Prio just hadn't got his head round the car setup here. So here we go. And the rain comes down almost on cue as we're about to start. Remember, everybody is on the slicks. Worried faces amongst the team management. So what is going to happen here? We could see some cars sliding around. The lights will go out. They launch. And a very good start from Farfus. And a pretty good start from Molina. He slots into 3rd place, and Paffett is up to 4th. Paffett is up to 4th from that start. Down into this so tight hairpin. People often get squeezed here. Will anybody go round? And Rocky's involved. Goodness me, the championship leader. There you see his car spinning round, and a touch, I think, with Joey Hand as far as I can see, and more off there. We've got Red Bull cars off, and meanwhile Rocky comes through. So it's all happening, not surprising with the rain coming down, and everyone on slicks. Ekstrom there involved, just getting away. There's Timo Scheider again, and Joey Hand, he's beached. Well, he's a Californian, but he doesn't want to be in that beach. Farfus, Wittmann, Molina, Paffett, Juncadella, Mortara, Spengler, Tambay. Tambay made a cracking start, then Wickens. And then, here we go, there is Tambay in the silver car. But Farfus getting away well. Rockenfeller right at the back of the field, and Joey Hand pointing. The American walk away, and he'll be on a plane probably to San Francisco. There we see the stall from the Red Bull car, and that put Jamie Green right at the back. And this is the incident. Bit difficult to read it, really. see it again from another angle. Well, certainly Hand and Rockenfeller getting together, but did Hand get a little shove? Just let's try and watch. Spengler was certainly pushing Mortara. Mortara snaking all over the place. This is the view from Ekstrom's car as he's right up the boot of the stern car of Junkadea. We're just looking now at... Whoa, and that's coming together. Oh, and Ekstrom gets spun round. So both the Red Bull cars having trouble at the start now. Christian Vortoris, and just look at Mortara's car. It was up on two wheels. And Rocky's come in. Well, the pit window is not open yet. This won't count as one of his two stops that he has to make. But I think this is a strategy call. They've decided to make 3 pit stops and get him very quickly onto the wet weather tyres. And that could be an inspired choice by the Phoenix outfit. So Rocky will go out, but he's going to have the traction here. And there's Ernst Moser, the man who made that call, the boss of Phoenix Racing. So much success here. Here is Farfus. And look at Whitman still hanging on in second place. And there is Gary Paffett. Then Adrian Tambay in 5th place, Wickens. Tambay, what a storming start he made. And Martin Tomczyk has moved up to 9th place. So, Farfus in the lead, everybody skating around. Be interesting to look at the pit times from Rockenfeller. Once he gets those wet weather tyres up to temperature, nobody else is coming in. They're going to obey the pit window. There's no penalty for coming in early, except that count doesn't... That pit stop, I should say, doesn't count as one of your mandatory stops. On board with Rocky, is already making progress. Look at him on Scheider there, and just blast by Scheider. And, well, interesting to see what happens with Rocky, and he might go a long way on these tyres. Lots of different strategies in this race. DRS not enabled at the moment. And look at this spray everywhere. Rockenfeller making up more places, look, and Rocky is really on the move, but it's Farfus in the lead from Whitman, Molina and Tambay. So it's a stampede down the pit lane here. Who's going to make the best stop? Look at Farfus, he's away in 3.2 seconds. There is Adrian Tambay, but... treacherous conditions, got to be so careful also braking onto your mark here on this slippy pit lane. Still cars coming in, cars going out. There is Gary Paffett, off he goes. Just see Glock going out. There's Junkadea coming out just in front of Werner, who hasn't stopped yet. Tomczyk in front of Glock. There's Paffett. Torres. And Prio coming out as well. Oh no, off is Marco Whitman. Whitman started on the front row of the grid. How's he got there? This is how. Locks it up under braking, just carrying too much speed, and yeah, into the tyre barriers just very lightly. No damage, I think, from that. Can he hook reverse? Here's the Spengler pit stop. There's the French-Canadian with lots of concentration in his face. There's the BMW, and off it goes in 3 seconds. Cracking pit stop then from the Charlie Lamau organisation as we get Rob Wickens going away. Wickens making a good stop. There's Albuquerque there in the grey Audi, and he hits his teammate Scheider, and Scheider gets hit by the Red Bull car. Oh, disaster for Audi. There's Scheider going round, think he was helped, and then bang, in goes the Red Bull Audi, and Scheider comes in and crabbing all over the place. That's, oh, there's also damage to Spengler's car. That's fairly cosmetic. Get a good look at the air jack there at the side of the car. Now let's look back through the spray. And Andy Prio going a little bit better. He's up there at the moment. There is Albuquerque, who possibly started all that drama with Audi. But I think we can go down to the pits now, and Eve's got a driver with her.
Timo, that's really a big disaster for your home round. I think you were nearly hit from everyone. I've seen Philippe Albuquerque, I've seen Jamie Green. There was no chance to avoid this contact.
Well, it started already quite tricky in the first lap. I got hit by Andy Priot, so he spun me around, so I was more or less last again already after the first lap. Then we catch back with a safety car, of course, but then we had the pit stop with the rain tires. We had a good performance. My engineer informed me we are doing the second or fastest lap at this time, and I felt quite comfortable, and I was attacking the Mercedes in front, and suddenly I got a hit from Felipe from the back out of the Mercedes arena, and I got a bigger one from Jamie then in the end, but I need to check the TV pictures because yeah, we destroyed the rear suspension, so we had to stop the race then.
Just not going the way of Timo Scheider, is it? Rockenfeller, you see the dots say how many pit stops they've done, but they're the mandatory ones, and so Rockenfeller doesn't have a red dot against his name, but that strategy certainly working thus far. Here is Tambay in second place as we ride on board with Ekstrom, and there was a spin, and Glock got punted out there by Juncadella, the Spaniard. Spaniard might get a penalty for that, I think. Let's see it. Yeah, into him and round he goes. Timo Glock, wonder if there's much damage on that car. And Vettori's certainly got a good view. Oh, right into the rear wheel. And some big avoidances. Meanwhile, up front, it's Rockenfeller. That strategy working well. Tambay second, Farfus, then it's Molina and Wickens and Spengler. But this race got quite a lot to play out yet. Strategies unfolding here, and they'll be crunching the numbers in the back of the garages. They somewhat expected this wet weather, but it came just at such an unfortunate time at the start of the race. There, Adrien Tambay there, the young Frenchman, second-generation racer. And look at Molina hanging on well, and Wickens is looking pretty smart as well here, as Paffett decides his strategy calls for a second stop quite early into the race, look, and away he goes. Now, of course, the next question mark is, will this track dry out, and will they need to go back onto the slicks? Well, the rain shower has passed now. Farfus charging over Tambay, and this is the battle for second place. Look at the quartet of cars here, all very close, and look at Farfus is on a charge. And he is pushing, and he's going to get round that corner, try and get lots of grip, find out where the gribby spits are, and he almost clips the back of the car in front of him, almost clips Tambay. And now they're going to go down into this very tight hairpin bend. Pretty well unsighted, the apex down there. You get a good view of it from that camera angle. And Farfus thinking about the outside, switches back maybe to the inside, and look at Wickens, and Wickens is coming, and Wickens is going to try and go all the way around the outside, and look at this move, is there enough grip? Incredible, what a move by Rob Wickens, and Wickens is past all three of them. Unbelievable stuff from the Canadian from just outside Toronto. And Wickens, the former Renault 3.5 champion, takes a gamble there. There you see it. Look at the speed he carried. And it absolutely worked. Rob Wickens, not the best move of the race, the best move of this 2013 season, and Wickens moves up. Well, what about that? Terrific stuff. Here is Farfus. And Farfus still, of course, battling for a podium place here. Looking at the back of Tambay and still trying, and now he's going to go down the inside, and he gets past Tambay, and Molina's right there as well in the red Audi. And already, look at the Canadian in the orange car, he's already moving away from him, and this is looking so good for Wickens now. But that was a great move. So Rockenfeller is in the lead, and he's got to pull away here some 24 or 25 seconds to make that early pit stop count, because that's the vector here, that's the time between coming into the pits and going out, and he's quite close at the moment to getting that gap that far. But meanwhile, he's staying on those rain tyres, has had quite a lot of use now. There's still a lot of water down here, so they won't be chunking yet. Wickens is in second place though, and there you see the gap is 27 seconds. So if Rockenfeller came in now, he would probably come out right with Wickens, and then there would be really game on. Meanwhile, still look at this trio having a great battle. Positions changing all the time, but Molina, this is by far the best showing we've had of him all season. Remember, at the previous race in Moscow, he took out Bruno Spengler, wearing a beard for the last 2 or 3 races. Here's the man from Lorette de Mar. Andy Priaulx dropped back now in 17th place, the man from Guernsey, and here is on board with Christian Vittoris, and Vittoris still having a reasonable race. Remember, one of the few drivers, I think there's only 2 of them, have scored points in every race. There is Vittoris in the chrome-plated Mercedes-Benz. Rockenfeller in the lead from Wickens at the moment. Glock has been in and Glock has gone on to the slicks. Look, Glock is on the option tyre. The yellow markings on the left-hand side of your screen show that. I hope you're not watching it in black and white. Spengler from Vittoris. That's 6th and 7th place, and Vittoris is like a terrier with a bone there trying to get by. And Vittoris going past Spengler, and Spengler goes back, and he doesn't need that because he can see his hopes of the championship and defending the championship he won so brilliantly last year starting to disappear. Spengler hanging on though, didn't score any points in Moscow. Down into, takes an inside line there, and meanwhile just watch Vittoris on board with Christian Vittoris, and yeah, they all point to Mercedes-Benz crew, happy with that. And Vittoris now challenging Molina, and Molina's off. Missed his braking there, and where is he going? He's going onto the Grand Prix track, and it's a long way round. He's going to lose lots of places. Here, where am I? And finally work his way back onto the circuit, and he still hasn't joined the sprint. There, he joins the sprint version now. He did a lap of the Grand Prix track, silly boy. Rockenfeller still leads, but that 27 seconds we saw is starting to diminish. There he is, carrying lots of speed. Maybe it would have been easier to have spun it round there, but easy for me to sit in a chair and say that. On board with Spengler then. Spengler under attack from the Audi. Spengler in the M3 BMW. You will see none of those next year. Penalty there coming for car number 1. That's Spengler going off the track. But I was just about to say, as Rocky comes in now, the drive-through penalty also for car 22. Rockenfeller out. And where's he going to come out relative to Wickens? We can't tell because Wickens came in at the same time. So as Rockenfeller makes his first pit stop, Wickens makes his second stop. Let's see what the HWA crew do here. Is this going to be a good one? 3.4. Be happy with that. Wickens coming out then. This is a vital part of this race. Just 18 laps to go now. Junkadea having served a penalty, and now on big opposite lock, and I think he's heading for the gravel, and round it goes in these challenging conditions here at the Nürburgring. Round 7 of the DTM. Farfus comes in. He's onto the slicks like virtually everybody else now. Off he goes. So the racetrack dry enough now for everyone to be on slicks. Rocky stayed on those wet weather tyres for a long time, and it took him into the lead, but now he still has to make a pit stop, and he doesn't have 27 seconds advantage over Wickens. This is looking good for the Canadians, yet to win one of these races. Here is Tomczyk, and Adrian Tambay misses his braking down there at the hairpin, goes wide, loses a couple of spots. Spengler goes by him. Lots of great action for the almost 90,000 fans here at the Nürburgring. But at the moment it is Rockenfeller who leads, but Wickens is challenging, and still a pit stop coming up for Mike Rockenfeller. Gary Paffett, you may wonder why he is right down there in 18th. Well, the team made an early call to put him onto the slicks, and he went on to them far too early, and he's really been suffering with that, and now he's into the pits again. Disastrous strategy for Gary Paffett, and that's going to hurt his championship chances as well. Well, I'm pretty sure that this man, Rob Wickens, is going to vault into the lead when Rockenfeller makes his second stop. But Rocky is still... Oh, look at this! Cars absolutely everywhere, and Spengler's got them both sides of it. Oh, dear. And that was Ekstrom on the outside, getting nerfed out. He comes back in again. And well, Ekstrom loses out there, and Tombe leading that pack. And note there that the BMW of Whitman still going. We never saw it, got back on the track. And meanwhile, Albuquerque and Spengler maybe trading a bit of paint. And look at Spengler looking across. Oh, and that was the nerf. And he had to correct on the steering. He might be having some words afterwards. A little bit of damage on the front of the Red Bull car. Spengler goes backwards. And here is the final stop then of the 3 for Mike Rockenfeller. And comes into the pit with the lead, but what's going to happen is he goes out, and where is Rob Wickens? And Wickens is already ahead. And Rocky there losing out. But it was a brave strategy, and it's partly worked as Timo Glock tries to unlap himself. Rocky just getting up to speed now, but well, it drops him back to 4th place. But remember, he was spun off on the opening lap with Joey Hand. Decided to come in early, and we have just 3.5 minutes remaining of this race now. So it's Wickens, Farfus, Vitoris and Rockenfeller, but that 4th will push Rocky even further ahead of the championship. So the gamble was worth it. Well done, Phoenix Racing, but what about Wickens? Has yet to win one of these races in his 2nd season. What about Martin Tomczyk? No points this year, the champion from 2 years ago, but it looks like he's going to get some now, and he's ahead of Adrian Tombe in this turbulent race here at the Nürburgring, and still a bit of damp on the side of the track, as you see. Meanwhile, Jamie Green got that cosmetic damage. I don't think that'll be worrying him too much. And there is Green, get a couple of points here. Got Pascal Wehrlein, the teenager, chasing after him. Hopefully can hang on. Albuquerque, who's been a bit boisterous in this race in 11th, but here is Wickens. Well, part of the success has to go down to that great move all round the outside that vaulted him up to 2nd place. Farfus is in 2nd. Another good drive from Farfus off the pole. On to the final lap here, through the cut-through, down to the chicane. Got to get the braking right there. There is Andy Priaulx. He won't be in the points again, sadly, in the Crown Plaza car. And there is the steel car, the orange machine of Rob Wickens, and the young Canadian who made the switch 2 years ago from single-seaters. The talent was spotted by Norbert Haug, the former team manager of Mercedes-Benz, and Wickens has just been getting quicker and quicker in the DTM. Last year was a learning year. He's not a learner anymore. He's going to be a winner as he comes round the final corner. And Rob Wickens will become the 2nd Canadian to win a DTM race, and he does it in great style. He takes the checkered flag, and Farfus is not far behind, and Gary Paffett, after that disastrous strategy call, is down there lapped. And now Vitoris comes home in the points and on the podium again, having a great season. And that was certainly, I think that might put him up to 2nd place in the championship. And Rocky makes it into 4th, increases his lead at the top of the title chase. And then for the first time this season, Tomczyk finally gets some points, just holding off a attack from Tombe. And Jones Moser is very happy. They're high-fiving down on the BMW podium. And let's check out the order here. Wickens finally winning by 2.1 seconds. Christian Vitoris, as I said, coming home 3rd. Rockenfeller, Tomczyk in the points for the first time. Feisty drive from Adrian Tombe. Marco Wittmann, what a drive from him coming back from that spin. Then Molina, Jamie Green and Pascal Wehrlein. Let's go down and get to the pits.
Toto, that was a crazy race. I think the Nürburgring played all for you with this crazy weather. Actually, it's a second win of a Canadian here and a Mercedes win. Did you thought of this before the race?
Yeah, obviously the weather was very crazy, but I think Robert drove a brilliant race, as did Christian. We were a bit unlucky with the strategy with Gary, but you know, the Nürburgring showed its character, and I'm very happy. We are 1 and 3. What a result!
Yeah, brilliant result by Rob Wickens, and now we can get down with Yves, who is with the happy winner.
A happy Canadian. Bruno took the win last year here as a Canadian. Now it's your turn for a big celebration. How does it feel?
Honestly, I don't know. It's an amazing feeling. To be honest, starting 7th, and I didn't really know what to expect. And when the rain came, everything just got crazy, and it was, yeah, a very panicful race. You know, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know, you know, what my lap times were, and luckily I was able to overtake the 3 cars in front of me and get some clean space, and yeah, and I think that was very important for my race.
Panicful, I wonder if that's a word. Anyway, Christian Vittoris finished in the podium position again, and let's hear now from the young German racer.
Christian, congratulations at your home run. You are P3, so will it be a big celebration today?
Yeah, I think so. It was nearly a perfect weekend now. Rocky's behind me, Spengler I think didn't score. So I'm P2 in the championship now, so it's a really positive weekend. The race was just crazy. Starting on prime tires on wet conditions was really hard actually to stay on track, but then we changed to wet tires, which was the right call, and then it was just a great race.
Traditional bashing of the barriers there on the podium, and the bubbly will spray. First time on the top step for Robert Wickens with the golden bottle. So now we can get back to Yves again, and this time we can hear from a Brazilian who's pretty happy.
How was it to be back on the podium? You had some races actually at, I think it was at Nürburgring and Brands Hatch, where wasn't so good. But Moscow, you got a lot of tailwind with the P3, and now it's P2.
Yeah, well, it's always good to be on podium. Of course, we start from pole and we expect something more. But with this weather condition, it's always a lottery. So I'm very happy to be P2. I think the rain stint was not so quick, so that cost us the race. Nevertheless, I think it's always good to be on podium again. Great feeling. We are back on the road. Good points. So let's look forward now. I think it's a good result, and yeah, we missed that much for the victory.
Let's check out the championship points. You heard Vittoris say he'd moved up to second place. He's worked it out. And look at Rob Wickens. He's up onto 3rd position now with 70. Spengler drops to 67. And Gary Paffett down there with only 57 points. But Bruno Spengler in 4th is going to be a pretty disappointed man. And he is now talking with Yves Scheer.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed. I mean, I think each of my teammates crashed into me actually, or tried to push me off the track a little bit. So I mean, this is very disappointing. It's the second race that it's like that, and I think that's not really racing, you know, and that's not my style. That's not what I'm doing. I try to push, you know, I push hard. I try to show performance and be quick on the track, and that's what counts, and not who's pushing who. So I mean, for sure it's a shame, but you know, there's still 75 points to go, and I'll push maximum to get the 75 points.
Well, it all started badly, of course, for Mike Rockenfeller, the championship leader, being spun round by Joey Hahn, but in the end, he got 4th place. Let's hear from him now.
Quite happy, super happy actually, after corner 1, being turned around and then being last, and then great strategy from my team and from Audi. That's, I think the guys, they deserve the 4th position. I just drove the best I could today, but they made a great call to call me in under yellow. Even though we had to do two more pit stops then, it was the right decision, and those little things have a big influence, and today that was the key to finish 4th.
Martin Tomczyk, for the first time in almost a year, actually gets the points. He'll be smiling.
For sure, I'm happy, starting from 20th position. It's a great result. On the other hand, it shows me that I'm quick in wet conditions, and in dry I still struggle the whole season. So now we have to analyze that I'm back on the pace as well in the dry conditions.
Well, the weather served up as absolutely cracking race. But from me, Andrew Marriott, it's goodbye, and also let's have a goodbye from Eve.
What an incredible race weekend here at the Nürburgring in the Eifel. Yesterday we had a lot of sun and hot temperatures. Today the Nürburgring has shown all its potential, all weather conditions except snow. I missed that a little bit, but we have to mention Rockefeller Mike. He did a big step in the championship. Actually, he's leading with 35 points. Disappointing for Bruno Spengler because he got no points. So everything is open. It's now a big break for us. 4 weeks to the next race, but then we still have Oschersleben, Zandvoort and the final in Hockenheim. So actually, I can't wait for the next race. See you there.
Sie haben mich ausgelacht und ich